Hello, introverts and extroverts. A lot of you have asked for another story time, so I figured what better way to make a sequel than to talk about a time where I could have died. And no, it wasn't a traumatic bloodbath, but instead, a little bit of a tale of blunt force trauma, so no need to worry about gore here, folks. Now, I used to work at a bacon factory from ages 18 to 19, if I remember correctly. It was the second job I've ever had, however, my experience there was so god awful. The work was intense, the male coworkers were creepy, and the managers treated us like peasants. No wonder people were quitting all the time. Hell, I think if you guys want a part 2 about this place, I can tell you about the men that worked here. Anyways, this factory was huge, and every day you'd be assigned to a random machine in a random department, which would either break or make your day depending on what machine you got put on. That fateful day, I was positioned on the belly press. For context, it was about 2 stories tall, and we were required to wear a helmet on top of our pre-existing uniform. I was the only one who really wore them, though, which, luckily for me, ended up in my favor. What the belly press did was take the pig's belly meat, drop it into the top of the machine, crush it, and push it out for us to package it and send it off to whatever other department it would be sent to cut it up into bacon. This machine was not structurally sound because the 45-pound frozen slabs of meat would just dangle from those 2 stories. The only thing keeping it tethered was a tiny hook. And one of the jobs I hated for this machine was being the poor sucker to grab whatever pig belly fell from the machine onto the floor, clean it with water, cut off the side that made contact with the floor, and put it back on the rack. Which definitely does not sound like a health violation. Now, if you're able to put 2 and 2 together, you can start to connect the dots on what happened. It was the start of the day I was put onto that very position. Now, I always made sure to work safely and follow company policy, even though no one else did. What we were told to do in order to not get crushed by the falling bellies was to look up and just, make sure nothing was going to fall before grabbing one that was already on the ground. And if I were to use a metaphor, it'd be like telling someone to look both ways before crossing the street. Problem is, the cars are invisible and speeding, and they definitely won't stop for you. I was grabbing this piece that fell behind the machine, which I will point out, I asked my manager if I should even attempt to grab this one, despite the danger it would put me in, just trying to grab it from wherever it was stuck from. And she just told me to not be a coward and just get it. Oh, I hope that doesn't bite me in the ass later. So, I manned up, I looked up, looks good, grabbed the tiny hook, and pulled hard to try and get it out from behind the machine. Didn't budge. Pulled again. Right there. Almost got it. Ah! Ah. Fuck. There, now that we have you all settled, you have 2 options. Either you keep working your shift, or you go to the hospital. You're gonna give me time to think about it? Well... I guess I can keep working. It's not like I'm bleeding or anything, right? Just a little bit dizzy. Excellent. You wouldn't want to lose another employee today. Janet called in sick. What a bitch. Alright, take some time to relax, then take your break, and then get back to work. Alright, honey. You got it, boss. So after an hour of resting, recovering, contemplating my life choices and what got me up to this point, I decided to go upstairs and take my 15-minute break. During that break, I was still feeling all out of sorts. The soreness of the blunt force trauma was kicking in, so I decided, since I now had access to my phone, to text my mom asking if I made the right choice by going back to work. Instead of, the logical decision of going to the hospital when 45 pounds of frozen pig flesh falls onto your neck and back, like a sane person does. Shit. So I am a people pleaser. I try to make everyone happy, even at the cost of my own health. So after my mom knocked some sense into me, I decided to talk to my manager saying that I changed my mind and I was going to the hospital instead. See, I don't trust that you're going to the hospital, even though I saw from my office you getting hit in the neck with a pig. Your mother can't drive you. But I can't drive like this. Lax, I'm not a monster. I'm just a manager. I'll give you a taxi free of charge. Take it, peasant. Nyeh. Next thing I know, I'm sitting uncomfortably in a taxi with my mom frantically driving behind us on the way to the hospital. Hey, I'm told you're going to the hospital. Did you need to go to the emergency room? No, it's not that bad of an injury. The normal entrance is fine. A few moments later. Why did that taxi driver not drop you off at the emergency room? What is he, stupid? No, he's not, but I am, I guess. I will defend myself on that mistake. I haven't been to a hospital since I was 11 for a concussion, so I'm not exactly familiar with hospitals or how it works, despite my mom being a nurse. I guess it's my mistake for thinking that emergency rooms were for emergencies. Me getting a little knocked out on my back, it doesn't seem as urgent as, someone being shot or stabbed or, I don't know, brain-eating bacteria of some kind, So keep in mind, this all happened during the first year of COVID, so my mom wasn't allowed to come in with me, and considering what I just said, you can bet your ass I didn't know what to do with myself. I got lost, I didn't know what to do, I didn't even know how to put my gown on. And you wanna know what the worst part was? The nurses fucking laughed at me after they found out that the reason why I'm there is because a frozen, dead pig tried to assassinate me from above. Regardless, I got my x-rays done of my neck and back, and I was waiting quite uncomfortably for my doctor to call me into a room. Fuck. Excuse me, dearie. I notice you didn't put your gown on properly. Would you like me to fix it for you? Oh, thank you, but you don't have to. Are you sure? It must not be comfortable with the cold chair touching your back. Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, Miss Applegate. The doctor will see you now.
I don't know why I remember such a small interaction so fondly, but I figured it was important to put in regardless, spreading an important message of showing other people kindness, especially when in this day and age people are so quick to focus on themselves that they don't notice when other people are struggling. If you've been following me for a while, you'd know that my grandmother passed away 2 months ago from cancer, and the last message she taught me is to be kind to others, because you can't tell what they're going through. When I was sitting in that emergency room, you couldn't tell just by looking at me that I was in pain, because I was trying so damn hard to hide it. But that old lady didn't know what I was there for, and her condition was so much more visible than mine, yet she decided to help me when she noticed I needed it. Old people really are too kind sometimes. Alright, enough of that sentimental stuff. I get called into the doctor's office, and I had my mom on the phone because she knew the doctor that was treating me. considering my back could have been seriously damaged from that type of blunt force, my back somehow managed to pull through. They just said I'd be sore for a few weeks, but other than that, I was mostly fine. I just mostly needed some bed rest. But man, the next day, I woke up feeling like I was hit by a truck. I think one of the only good things that came out from that experience was the fact that my friend gave me a succulent as a get-well-soon gift, with a little silly note on it. I named the plant Petalia, and Petalia is long dead, but I still remember her since she was my first plant. However, the worst part after this incident is that the supervisors just forgot that I was crushed by a pig and put me on jobs that required me to bend my back for hours at a time. That wasn't fun, and was one of the reasons I quit, because it was so painful to bend my back for that long, not really fully recovering, and I'm suffering the consequences from that, so hooray. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about the time. I didn't exactly see a pig fly, but I sure as hell felt it. My family likes making jokes about that often. But if you watched up to this point in the video, that means you've helped me financially, since I now finally have YouTube monetization, which I am really excited about. But if you want to help me in other ways, you can join my Ko-Fi and have yourself added amongst this list of wonderful, beautiful supporters. I also want to say thank you for the amount of fan art I've received recently. I know I've said this often, but I couldn't ask for a better community, and I'm glad I'm able to inspire you all enough to draw my silly little persona in your style. It's truly an honor to me. Alright, have a good day, and don't let a frozen pig hit you on the way out. Wait, do I hear some- No, not again! Ah!